You've been hearing how bad it is for Airbnb hosts right now, how they're getting slaughtered. No one's making any money because no one's traveling. It's absolutely true. So many hosts are losing so much money. And as a way to show you exactly how bad it is, I'm gonna do something that a guru should never do. I'm gonna show you how much money I lost in April. Let's talk about the dark side of running a business, especially on Airbnb, how much money I lost in April. And as a bonus, closer to the end of the video, I'll actually show you a little bit from May as well. You can see how bad it is in May. Let's jump in. Airbnb family, YouTube world, welcome back. So this video is going to be fun. I was sitting down on my couch, kind of plotting some projections, doing some financials, so I can decide how I want to run my May and my June while I'm here in Philadelphia. I'm currently actually talking to landlords, trying to negotiate on some new leases. And I realized that I made a prediction a couple weeks ago, and that inspired me to do this video because I think it's an important topic. I said it was going to get better. I said it was going to marginally get better a couple weeks ago. That video is coming soon. All right, we're going to talk about not just my properties, but the hotel industry and Airbnb as a whole and what the trends are. I think we need to look at everything, not just me. But while kind of going through this, I ended up in my email accounts, and I've got about 4 different admin accounts that pay me on Airbnb. And so every time you get paid from Airbnb, they send you an email, like, we're putting this much money in your bank account. I'm like, oh, I've got an idea. So what I did is I took the last 5 days and I did a screenshot of every deposit Airbnb gave me over the last 5 days. And I decided I'm gonna go exactly a month back and do the same date range. Right now it's May 13th. So I did pretty much the 9th through 13th of May, went back to April, did the 9th through 13th of April. So we can get an average daily booking amount and we can see exactly how much money I made on Airbnb specifically in April. And of course we can do the same thing for May. And that's really what this video is gonna show you. But I'm also gonna tell you what my costs are. So we can take a look at my average booking and my costs, and we can see how much money I lost. And yeah, it could be embarrassing. You know, if I could ever get embarrassed, maybe this would be the time. But you know, all of us know business comes with risks. You will lose money sometimes in business. And what I've been telling people for the last couple months is the goal is to lose as little as possible. So I will tell you that I could have lost more, and we'll talk about that too, but let me give you these screenshots and show you. So let's go to the April 9th through April 13th, and I'm gonna put these up so you can see them and verify them for yourselves. I did the math without pennies. All right, I'm that guy. I don't care about cents. I only care about dollars. I like to think big, okay? So the total breakdowns for the April 9th through 13th, the 9th, we made $1,588. And we made $1,653 on the 10th, $3,300 on the 11th, $4,140 on the 12th, and $4,010 on the 13th, sorry. That leads us to $14,691 over 5 days. That is a $2,938 average per day, leading us to a 30-day average of $88,140. For those of you who've seen my past videos, I once boasted that we cracked $240,000 of deposits in 1 month. There's a video. This is just gross, right? But I will say that that hotels some of them are down at under 20% occupancy for a week or two at a time. There's an article I will quote in a future video, but I'll still leave it in the description for this one. A company called The Real Deal, or Real Deal. It's a website that does a lot of real estate news, and a lot of hotels in New York for a week or two were under 20% occupancy, where they're normally at 80-something%. So that's a 75% drop in occupancy. What we're seeing is a 66% drop in total revenue too. Now, my cost structure really plays in here. This $88,000 monthly average does not include all of my properties for 2 reasons, okay? Just so you know, but I'm still gonna give you all my costs. Reason 1 is Philadelphia has made short-term rentals illegal temporarily. We are not generating revenue on our Philadelphia properties, but we are not paying rent on all but 2 of them. So we're paying rent at 2 of our properties, and our leases otherwise at the other 30 properties we have are hibernated. We are not paying rent, and we don't owe rents for those. All right, hopefully the machine comes back on and we can start putting some properties back in play in Philly. But it's affected our revenues, but it's also cut a majority of our cost out. But we still have to pay like utilities and stuff. You can't just shut your electricity off and like leave a place dead like that. So we still are incurring costs on those other 30, just not full rents. Make sense? And another thing is we do some direct bookings, some non-Airbnb bookings. So I have long-term tenants, and sadly, they're not paying rent either. But the rent roll for my costs still include my long-term tenants' rents in here. So I'm making money on my short-term rentals, and I'm not making money on my long-term tenants. But then I do have some like off-platform bookings that are people who've paid us through like PayPal, Venmo, like they Zelle us the money for a week or two at a time to stay in our places, or a couple nights at a time to stay, but they don't show up on Airbnb. So as far as Airbnb is concerned, let's just call the direct booking numbers negligible. There's going to be a little bit of money in there, but for like April, we'll just say that it was negligible. Now let's look at what our costs are so you can see how much money I lost. So our expenses, our rents for all of our Texas properties and then the 2 properties in Philadelphia we're paying is $100,175, not including the 30 we're not paying rent on. Now our Houston, Texas cleaning expenses, because Houston is our worst performing market of any place that we have properties live right now, we're only paying for our hourly staff $650 per week in housekeeping for our units because we're not getting much bookings. We pay by the hour for our cleaning contractors, by the way. So our cost of housekeeping is way, way down. Now we'll pay about $1,000 a week or more for housekeeping in Houston. But right now we're at like $650 a week because volume's low. Our management fees, what we pay to our managers, which we have not laid off a single person, by the way, we pay $7,600 a month in management expenses. We also have some of these apartments are like gifted apartments, so we have some managers who get to stay for free and some apartments that we pay for, which is cool. And then additionally, our housekeeping team in DFW, we've been keeping them busy. I don't get to see all of the numbers, but I know what our busiest times tend to look like. And I'm just gonna max out this number based on how busy I know we've been. And so we've paid roughly $13,000 per month for our housekeeping team, our customer service team, and our maintenance guy. So, we're talking about, like $3,500 a week-ish ballpark is what we pay for our teams, $3,000 to $4,000 a week. Then utilities for all 100 apartments, okay, because we do apartments, studios, 1 bedrooms, 2, some of them 3s. Our electricity, utilities, etc. is $16,000 for 100 doors, even though some we can't operate in, we still have to pay the bills. And then miscellaneous supplies like restocking toilet paper and stuff like that, about $1,500 for the month on like the little stuff like shampoo and stuff like that. So this takes our total operating cost to be $140,800 is what our operating cost is right now. Of course, not including the 30 units in Philadelphia that we can't operate. So, yeah, I didn't even do the final number. We're talking about like $51,000 in change in loss that month. That is what we make in profit on a good month. Okay, so we've lost like $51,000 month of April. That's a big chunk of change to lose, to like go and run a deficit on. And you guys know that like #1 rule I always teach you guys is don't run out of cash. Now let's look at the May numbers, May 9th through May 13th. Screenshots, of course, with the emails. We are not including money that I got paid from Airbnb for the $250 million relief fund. I don't want it to skew our total numbers, so I'm not including that in our totals here. So, Airbnb is paying a very small amount of booking, like that we got cancels, like hosts got canceled, like some people lost like hundreds of thousands of dollars in bookings, or maybe they only had like 5 properties, but they still lost like $30,000 in bookings in just 5 properties. I know people who got crushed, and Airbnb is giving a very small amount of that money back. So we do have some payouts from Airbnb on this fund, not included in these numbers. So May 9th, $4,300. May 10th, $2,675. May 11th, $5,100. May 12th, $4,399, and May 13th, $3,190. Much better. This total is $19,664 for 5 days. That averages us $3,932 per day on average, which is $1,000 a day more than we were making last month. And that brings our total to $117,960. Now this would be a projection. If May does not improve anymore, we would finish at $117,960. Okay? At this point, Philadelphia still is not letting us operate because it's still illegal. So we cannot believe that May is going to improve for that reason, but we are seeing an increase in like nightly rate. Average nightly rate is coming up, which we'll talk about in another video too. So with that said, if no other improvements, and we're not talking like off-platform bookings or things like that, we would still lose in May. We could lose like 22 grand. Everything else the same in May. So if you look at these numbers, March we actually were profitable because the first 14 days of March were really unaffected by this. Is March 11th they announced that they'll let people cancel. People were still showing up over the next few days, and it's about March 15th that everything kind of started to fall off a cliff. And if you saw a previous video, the worst of it was like April 6th was like the worst of it all. And so it kind of dipped down and it's coming back up. So March we were profitable. April, negative more than $50,000. In May, if no improvements are made, we're looking to be negative at about $21,000, $22,000. I believe June will be profitable. And I hope I'm right, because this has been no fun losing money. But I did say that I could have lost more money, and I really want to drive this point home for you people who have Airbnb properties. I've mentioned it for a couple of months. The key to my success and the fact that I'm still generating 6 figures of income through Airbnb on about 70 properties is because I've been lowering my rates. I've been using like techniques or tactics that you would call revenue management. Same thing hotels do. And I've been finding ways to stay full. I am over 80% occupied over the last 2 months, where market average is 39%. I'm more than double as full as my competition. And so if you look at the bright side here, because I really want you guys to understand that when everybody's losing, you can still come out the winner, is the point. Because as everyone is losing, those who cannot handle their losses shut down. In a previous video, I showed how a guru had to like chop properties. We haven't closed a single property and we haven't laid off a single person. We're winning. We're losing, but we're winning because I'm keeping my best staff, I'm keeping my properties, and which means I get to generate money on my properties and life is good, right? So the bright side here is that we've lost less money than we could, which is what's allowing us to stay open because we generated enough new cash that we did not run out of cash. See, if we didn't do what it takes to get all these extra bookings, even though we're only making little bits of money beyond our cleaning fee, we wouldn't have had that little bit of money to contribute towards our rent and to our salaries for our management. If we went, instead of getting 80% occupancy at like $10 less than everybody else, if we got the same occupancy as everybody at the same price as everybody else, we would have generated 40% of the occupancy would have been gone. And if we're getting $20 per reservation, right, $20 per day towards our costs, even though our rents are $50 a day on average and our wages and stuff inflate that number to $65, $70, maybe even $85 a day we need in costs to cover, you know, hypothetically, even though we're only contributing $20 per day per reservation towards a cost of $60 per day, now we're only losing $40 a day instead of losing $60 a day is the point. And the cool thing is since we're doing all this business, our Dallas housekeeping team is thriving. We had to hire more housekeepers. We've got a big, healthy housekeeping team. So when things get good again, we have the full structure to keep running our business. So that's just a sidebar for you hosts out there. You guys gotta do what sucks to stay in business. In a future video, I will show you the market trends, what the average nightly rates are and occupancies are for like last month, this month, and we can see the trends and we can run some projections. That way you guys can kind of see the future with me. If you have questions, you know that you can ask them in the comments. I'll be down there. And you will see in the comments for this video and previous ones that there are hosts that will complain that they did not get bookings, that my case is an anomaly, but that's not true. My case is an example of hosts who did what they had to do in regular urban areas, aside from cities that were completely shut down. Because, you know, there's places like Italy and Greece where people just got crushed because nobody's gonna go there because they can't, or they just literally cannot travel there. So in a lot of US cities where there's regional travel, hosts could either like lose or figure it out. And if you're in my group, the hosts of Airbnb Automated, you will see that there is a strong group of hosts who are smart, who've listened to this channel and have done what they had to do to stay in business, and they are thriving too. There are hosts who are losing their shirts, some just by like bad luck, they're in bad cities, where they can't get a single booking, it's impossible. But then there's hosts who are in cities where it was possible, they just didn't want to do what it takes to be successful. And that's something you need to really understand is you're always responsible for your business, no matter what. You know, and it sucks to have it all on your shoulders sometimes, but you can get through it. So onward, upward, guys. Thank you for watching Airbnb Automated, and I'll see you on the other side.